This trade proposal is absolutely wild. As Suns fans know, Kevin Durant's future with the organization is very much up in the air right now, but one team that has consistently been linked to the Suns in a Kevin Durant trade is the Houston Rockets. And now a trade proposal has been revealed. It's been broken down in terms of the construction of what this trade would look like out here in the offseason. And frankly, this has Suns fans extremely divided in terms of whether or not it's a good package for Phoenix, whether or not it makes sense for the Suns organization. Some people are saying, hey, we should take it and run. So we're going to break down what this package, how this deal would be constructed according to recent reports, all the latest on this whole Kevin Durant situation, because we have a ton of insiders linking Kevin Durant to different teams, of course the Houston Rockets included, and breaking down the likelihood of him actually getting dealt in the offseason. So lots of stuff to break down in this video, but folks, again, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I'm seeing a lot of new people tuning in, interested in seeing what's on the go with the Phoenix Suns, especially during this wild offseason that's about to be ahead. And over 67% of our viewers haven't hit the subscribe button just yet. So if you've been watching the vids and you're enjoying the daily Phoenix Suns content, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button right now down below. It's free. You can hit that button, and then it's really supporting out the channel. So appreciate every single one of you, but let's dive into it because, of course, Kevin Durant is the main topic of discussion, is the main guy that's on the front of minds for a lot of Phoenix Suns fans, going into this offseason. Of course, it makes sense. He's still a monster. He still has extreme value. 27 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and remarkable efficiency. I bring up his stats all the time, right? He is Kevin Durant. We don't have to explain how good he is at basketball, but there are concerns about his future, especially after the botched trade deadline where the Suns shopped him without talking about him and became a whole messy situation, and all signs indicated to a deal actually going down the offseason. Now, of course, Brian Windhorst came out and said, I don't think fans understand this yet, but I'm telling you, the Suns are going to have to seriously trade Kevin Durant to get out of jail. So, that's a report that came out from insider Brian Windhorst. We've heard some mixed reports in terms of things that are going on in terms of Brett Siegel came out and said that the Timberwolves, the Rockets, the Mavericks, and the Heat, Golden State Warriors, and Hawks all had discussions with the Suns at this year's trade deadline, but both Booker and Durant came up in these talks, some being more angled towards the future rather than the deadline itself. So a lot of these conversations were like, hey, in the offseason, we can make one of these deals happen. The money will work better and all that stuff. So these things have been brewing. Again, it's not a guaranteed thing, like it's the only thing that can happen. Is certainly not a given that Kevin Durant will be moved in the coming months. Ishbia and the Suns will not accept less value in a trade involving Kevin Durant than they initially sent out to get him, and even though he's 36 years old, he's still one of the most dynamic scorers in the league, and Phoenix understands that they would be aiding any team's championship pursuit, and if they get the future Hall of Famer out there on a silver platter. So that's the breakdown of reports. That's what the context. That's what all Suns fans kind of know here now at this point, that all signs indicate to a KD deal happening, but other things can fall into place with the coach, the GM, Matt Ishbia's willingness to let go of him because KD's still under contract. A lot of stuff has to fall into place, but one team that is consistently brought up and is the favorite to land Kevin Durant here now at this point, as you can see here in this list, is the Houston Rockets. You can see their odds the best on this list at the top right of this little box. So the Houston Rockets have consistently been linked. I mean, Shams broke down that there's been a level of mutual interest between the Rockets and Kevin Durant. If the Houston Rockets are eliminated early from the playoffs, they figured to become a top trade suitor for Kevin Durant. Again, according to Shams Charania, they have multiple first-round picks and a lot of stuff going on here now at this point. So, of course, if you haven't been watching the playoffs and stuff, I don't blame you, but it has been an exciting postseason, and the Warriors are looking to knock off the Houston Rockets. They're up 3-1 now in that series. So that has led a lot of eyes to be pointed back to, hey, Kevin Durant going to the Houston Rockets in a trade out there this summer, and Houston being a little bit more desperate to make one of these deals happen. But what will this trade package look like? Because it's pretty wild. Essentially, on its surface, you might look at it and be like, oh my God, why on earth would we do that? So it's Fred VanVleet, Cam Whitmore, a 2027 first-round pick that is owned by the Phoenix Suns, so getting a Suns pick back, and then a 2028 and a 2030 first-round pick for Kevin Durant. Basically, the logic behind it is the math is a little tougher on this one than some other previous deals, since the Phoenix Suns are a second apron team and can't aggregate outgoing salaries to take in more money than it sends out. In short, this is only the only combination of players that works for the Houston Rockets to bring in Kevin Durant for this run. Now, the Suns, I think, again, the way it's worded, the way it's angled, you look at that and it's like, okay, the Suns are kind of hamstrung here. Suns can make some moves. There can be some maneuvers to work their way under the second apron. Of course, Bradley Beal's albatross contract really hurts those navigation skills in terms of getting under that cap situation. Of course, you're not trading Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. You have to trade him before you could get off his money and stuff. So that's the situation. That's the reality. And looking at that, the surface, it's Kevin Durant. We're getting Fred VanVleet, Cam Whitmore, and a few picks for a team that projects to be really good out there in the future. I agree. It's fairly underwhelming. Some people are saying we got to run with it just KD's age, but taking a look at the guys before I give my full tilt analysis, because Cam Whitmore is a guy that fell in the NBA draft a couple seasons ago. This season averaging 9 points per game, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 35% from the 3-point line, and 44% on corner threes. He's just 20 years old. He's a guy I'd love to have in the purple and orange. He's a guy I would love to see out there in Phoenix. Because I feel with the amount of young players, the amount of depth, the amount of guys that are out there on that Houston Rockets roster now at this point, I feel like Cam Whitmore is getting undervalued. I think he's getting to a point where if he was on a roster where he had more run, more availability, more minutes, and a guy that could be scrappy on both ends of the floor, he's a player that I think definitely in Phoenix Suns would certainly thrive. So I definitely like Cam Whitmore coming back, but as a centerpiece of a KD trade, that's concerning. But of course, the biggest name out there in this is Fred VanVleet, who frankly, this season, he's 31 years old, 14 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 34% from the 3-point line. Fred VanVleet has never been efficient. He's never been efficient. He's 37% from the 3-point from the field and 35% from the 3-point line. The thing about Fred VanVleet is he is a real leader. That is the one thing about him. Like, statistically, there's no world this man is living up to that giant contract that he has, the $40+ million per year. But he is a leader. He'll get people in the right gear, the right mindset, the right frame. But he's one of the most frustrating players in basketball because he does everything the right way, it feels. Approach the game, he's locked in, he's focused, he says the right things. He does all these types of stuff. But he just misses at these crucial moments. He's not hitting as much as you like. He's got that star player mindset, that star player confidence without that skill set that's there at that level. He also dealt with a knee injury a couple seasons ago, and that's really affected his defense and stuff. So while I'm a big fan of Fred VanVleet, he's a love-hate player. You have him on your team, he's a love-hate guy out there for the squad. And as the centerpiece in a KD trade, while I think he'd help the leadership, the getting the most out of players out there on the roster, I don't think he is that main piece, especially at his price tag, to be coming back to the Phoenix Suns, even though this team is in need of a point guard with Tyus Jones likely on his way out. So Cam Whitmore, Fred VanVleet is the two players that are coming back is not that intriguing. Of course, you get 3 first-round picks, which is the main value add for this Kevin Durant trade, and I don't like that deal. I don't like that framework out there on a KD front because this team does not have their draft picks for upcoming season. We know Matt Ishbia has no desire to tank, no desire to suck, no desire to do any of those types of things. But with that being in mind, getting younger pieces that are going to help you win, that are going to have you in that situation for a guy as good as KD is, that's the route. And basically, we've seen the reports. I've already brought them up in this video about how the Suns refused to give KD away for a package that isn't as good as what they received. I mean, looking at the package the Suns gave up for Kevin Durant, Mikal Bridges, who went on to net the Nets, 5 or 6 more first-round picks, Cam Johnson, and 4 firsts, and some additional draft compensation, some swaps and stuff. Those are 2 elite 3-and-D guys. Mikal Bridges, arguably borderline star player, especially what he's doing with Brooklyn. And then, all of those first-round picks, you're just not getting that type of value back. And Suns fans are excited for that and stuff. And this package, this trade is just an absolute downgrade in terms of what the value of that deal that the Suns sent out was for Kevin Durant. And there's not a lot to speak for the wins and stuff out there on that front. And I get that KD still has some phenomenal stats, right? But he's 36 years old. He's still a guy that, has dealt with some injuries in the past. It's a tough situation because the Rockets feel like on paper the best trade suitors for the Suns to be dealing with, but it's a tough pill to swallow out there as Suns fans to really figure out what the heck is going to be the right move for KD. If he's trading the offseason, I think everyone's going to be underwhelmed with the package that actually goes out. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. You guys are the best thing as far as subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.